Tired of pushy recruiters sending you LinkedIn requests for jobs you have no interest in? Tired of blasting out resumes into the dark? If so, you should check out Hired.com. Hired.com flips job searching on its head by having top employers like Facebook come to you after you fill out one simple application. You also get your own job coach to help you on your next job search. If you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend you at least fill out the application. Just go to Hired.com/simple programmer, and when you get hired with Hired, you'll get double the normal sign-on bonus for using that link. Hey, what's up? John Sonmez here from SimpleProgrammer.com. I'm in the Tuscany region of Italy, just outside of Florence. And today I'm going to talk about coding boot camps again. Some of you have pointed out to me that some of the major coding boot camps have failed, right? That they closed down. Was it like Iron Yard, and what's that other one? Dev Boot Camp. Okay. And he said, "Hey, John, see, told you, man, you can't learn programming in three months. Can't do that. I did this video on I could learn anything in 3 months, and I doubled down on it and said why I could do it. And some people still I get the most hated comments on that. Why? And I wonder, why do people react so poorly to that video? Is it because I'm such an arrogant prick in the video and thinking I can do someone's job better in 3 months learning it than they've done in 10 years? I don't know if it's that much. I think it scares them. I think it does, because, I mean, really, have you not run into people that have been working in industry for 10 years and you're like, really? Like, you've been doing this for 10 years and you suck this bad? That's 90% of the workforce. That's 90% of people out there, okay? That's 9% of software developers, unfortunately. So it's really easy to beat someone who sucks, okay? But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. Well, it sort of is, because it was all kind of related to this. So there's a lot of people, I call them the old guard, the crotchety old men, I call them, who are about my age, a lot of them older, some younger, and they get really upset about coding boot camps, because they're like, the fuck? These newbies think they can just come in here, they can go to school for 12 weeks or whatever, some coding boot camp, and they can call themselves a software developer, or God forbid, call themselves a software engineer. Really? That's not, it takes way more than that to be a software developer. And I disagree, my friend. Someone intensively focusing for 3 months can learn a lot. I mean, I don't know how many videos I've done where people have sent me emails and success stories. I mean, we can maybe link to some success stories of people that have gone to coding boot camps, and we've had more than one of those. And I don't know how many of those, I get one every day almost now. So I know it's happening. I know people are succeeding, and I've given some advice. I have my book, The Complete Software Developer's Career Guide, which you can check out here. It's the #1 bestseller on Amazon. And in that, I've got a chapter on coding boot camps, and I've got a chapter on how to succeed at one. So I'm not going to talk about how to succeed at one necessarily, but I want to talk a little bit about, what does this mean? Does this mean that coding boot camps fail? Because I read this article, and I think the article was just short-sighted, right? It was one of these articles I was like, see, told you guys. See, everyone thought that they could do this coding boot camp thing and teach people how to program in 3 months, and no, it's way more complicated than that. It's not. It's like trying to be a surgeon and learning to be a surgeon in 3 months, or a boot camp. That would never work. And so, yeah, the whole thing is doomed to failure, and yeah, that doesn't work. Which I think is kind of crazy. So just because an economic model doesn't work, and it doesn't mean that doesn't work, right? Just because someone has failed economically doesn't mean that the process, that doesn't prove that coding boot camps don't work, and that people don't learn things and get jobs programmed. Now, I would guess that a majority of people that go through coding boot camps, right, especially when they're applying it, doing it the wrong way, thinking that, I mean, here's the thing, right? I mean, we're all saying the same thing, right? A lot of you that disagree with me on this. If you think you're going to go into a coding boot camp and you're going to learn to become a programmer in 12 weeks, and you're just going to show up and there you go, and you're expecting them to train you, it's the same thing as going to college and expecting them to give you an education. You cannot have someone else educate you. You must educate yourself, my friend. So you got to put in the work and the effort. And so if you're not going to plan on being like the top 10% in your coding bootcamp class, then don't go. Not worth it. You're not going to make it. It's not gonna be worth your time. I'd aim for top 1. If you're not gonna be the top 1, if you're not planning on being the best person, most successful person in your coding bootcamp, don't go. No, I mean top 10% is the minimum, right? But I'd be going for number 1 or number 2 slots because I know that person's getting a job, right? And I've said this multiple times. So have coding bootcamps failed? No, they haven't failed. There's going to be some consolidation. There's too many coding bootcamps. A bunch of people said, hey, coding bootcamp is a way to make a quick buck. I know how to program. I can teach people how to program. I can teach them how to do it in 12 weeks. I'll make some money off of this, and a lot of people did. And there's too many of them. There's too much supply and not enough demand, right? I mean, this is all just economics, just basic economics that's going to happen. So you're going to see consolidation in the market, and then you're going to see like a few major players emerge out of this, or networks, or alliances, and that's probably what's going to happen. But the idea is not going to go away. Because what's the alternative, right? I mean, for the person that wrote the article I'm talking about, and he's like, yeah, see, you can't just teach this in 3 months. College? Really? Like 4 years of... How much of 4 years of college teaches you actually how to program? I mean, yeah, I'm not saying computer science isn't useful, and it is. And, you know, I've studied computer science both in a formal education setting and on my own, and I've taught it. And it's useful, it's great, but it's not real-world programming. And a lot of times these coding boot camps, if they're good ones, right, again, not all coding boot camps are created the same. We can't just lump them all together, right? I mean, one set of curriculum isn't going to teach you shit in 3 months. Another set might be really good, right? So we can't just group them all together, okay? So my point is, though, that like after getting out of college for 4 years, are you really going to be able to just enter the workforce and code? A lot of times a coding bootcamp is going to make you more successful because at least on-the-job training, right? And here's the thing. Here's the other thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is, am I advocating that someone can become a really good software developer in 3 months? No, not at all. It's going to take more time than that. I mean, there was in the article it talks about how code is more like poetry. Totally agree. Writing good code, the way that I judge whether someone writes good code or not is I look at the code. I look at the structure of it and what it looks like and what it sounds like, what it tastes like. No, what it looks like, honestly, like how they name things and all this stuff, because this is important because you spend more time maintaining code than writing code. But, and here's the big but here. You can get started. You can get your feet wet. You can hit the ground running in 3 months, right? You can get a base level of education and knowledge where you could fix some bugs, where you could develop some basic features, where you're not going to be an architecting the system or a team lead, right? But you can do some basic coding. You can make some web pages. I mean, how long does it take? Okay, think about it. Here's the other thing I want you guys to think about here, okay? Not everyone is working on Mars rovers, okay? Most developers today, most web developers, right, or simple app developers are putting fucking buttons on a page and forms on a page, and you click the fucking thing and it sends data to a database, or it gets data from a database. That's it. There's no complicated stuff going on. It's not complicated design. It's very, very simple. It's just pages. It's just data entry and data retrieval being displayed to a page or to an app. This is a majority of programming. Majority of programming work like that is brainless, kind of dumb. Like you could learn how to do that in 2 weeks, honestly, right? I mean, with a lot of focus, right? This is not everything is intricate architecture and all of this stuff. And sometimes a lot of the experienced programmers put a lot more extra stuff on top of that. Now, again, I'm not saying that there's not a place, right? I mean, I devoted my life, a lot of my career, to becoming the best software developer I could, and it took years, right? I read hundreds of books, okay? I did tons of extra work on my own and practice and effort to learn as much as possible, right? And to improve my craft as much as possible. And I encourage you to do that, right? And you should do that, right? I mean, you're not going to go through a 3-month boot camp, okay, and come out and get a job as a software developer, and then you're done. No, you still need to continue your education. You still need to grow and learn more. I always encourage people that as soon as they finish a boot camp, now start learning the computer science stuff that you would have learned in college, and teach it to yourself on your own, and 6 months instead of 4 years, right? It's doable. It's easy. It's not that. I mean, it's not easy, but what I'm saying is that the path is clear. It's not that difficult to figure out what you need to do. Okay, so yeah, coding boot camps are not They're not done. They're not going anywhere. It might change, right? They haven't failed. This is a ridiculous notion, right? What will change maybe is some of the promises. I think that this happened, right? This is a gold rush. This was a gold rush. This is why I didn't get involved in this business, right? Some of you have emailed me and said, John, you should start coding boot camp. Why didn't you start coding boot camp? I'm not in it for the quick buck. Not that every coding bootcamp is. There's some really good ones. I've recommended them on this channel. They've sponsored this channel, and I've vetted them, and they're really good. And I've seen success stories from their students, right? And I'm not going to name names here, but I can think of 4 off the top of my head that I would easily recommend anyone to go to, okay? With full confidence. So the thing is that majority of the coding bootcamps that have opened have been chasing after this gold rush. They just want to... Damn bell. They just want to make some money quick. And it makes sense. And that happens with every new market that opens. And then there's consolidation. We're in the consolidation phase. If you study economics, you will understand that we are in the consolidation phase now. And in the consolidation phase, usually a couple of big players emerge, the rules of the game change, and the promises become weaker, right? Because when you're starting out, when you're in that gold rush phase, you're promising people all this stuff. You're like, you can learn how to code in 12 weeks without knowing anything. Just sign up for a coding bootcamp. Bullshit. That's not true. Just sign up for a coding bootcamp. Spend the first 2 weeks before you actually enroll in the camp, learning as much as possible on your own, preparing yourself for the class. Then when you sign up for the coding bootcamp, work your ass off in the coding bootcamp. Make sure you participate in every project that you're there. Drop everything else from your schedule. Spend an extra 3 to 4 hours a day studying after the bootcamp is over and meeting with other people and doing other projects. And then you'll be set up to get it, right? This is the minimum level of focus, right? Why would you do this? Why would you pay a bunch of fucking money, right? And spend a bunch of your time if you're not going to give it your all? I don't understand people that don't give it their all, right? I did this video on 9 or above. You can check out that. I'm going to make a fucking t-shirt that says 9 or above. Why would you do that? Why would you fucking pay a lot of money, spend a lot of time, and not giving it your all? So when I say coding bootcamps work, and when I say that they're the best option, I think, I'm talking about giving it a 9 or a 10 of effort. If you're not going to give it a 9 or 10 of effort, fuck it. Nothing is going to work. Well, why are you even wasting your time on this planet? Just fucking, I don't know, collect a welfare check and don't do jack shit. If you're not giving it a 9 or 10, I don't know. Why are you even fucking here, right? Why are you watching this video? What are we doing? That's all I got to say. All right. If you like this video, click the subscribe button below. Click the bell to make sure you don't miss any videos. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.